कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada I got Hare 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 Krishna Maharaj Sarvajana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandatanam Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
How are you, Maharaj?
I'm doing all right. We had Nishma Chaturdasi.
Yes, Maharaj. We saw on the live telecast. Yes, Maharaj. But being there would have been a different experience. Yes. It is amazing, actually, Maharaj, how after Prabhupada left, this one main deity has come in ISKCON and has captured the heart of everybody in ISKCON, Maharaj.
Yeah, true. He is very personal. He's also like very many pastimes about Nishimade. Anyway.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. So, Hare Krishna and Pranam, dear devotees. So, we are fortunate to get Maharaj association, and so all of us, we heartily welcome Maharaj by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhakti Arja Pritivardhan Maharaj ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. So today, and we were just discussing that we will start reading from Prabhupada's book, Teachings of Queen Kunti. Well, we discussed many times. We were talking about Queen Kunti, how she actually spent the time with with the Pandavas, with Krishna. They went through so many austerities, especially when they were in the forest, and when they were being attempted to be killed. But Krishna always protected. And then after they come back from the forest, then suddenly they get back the palace, they get back everything what they deserve. But somehow, then Queen Kunti, she was not overly too satisfied. So now she's praying to Krishna that actually we were very, very happy in the forest because you were always with us. So then, no, she's praying. So please forget about everything what we have here, and let's go back to the forest, and please be with us again. So these are the prayers of a pure devotee. The devotee, he doesn't care about ultimately anything else than Krishna himself. So these prayers are a wonderful way to meditate, to contemplate, deliberate on what we can do, how we can get closer to Krishna. So then we will read from the book. And when there is something to discuss, or when there is some question, then maybe we can just stop and we can have a little discussion. I think that it's quite like a self-explanatory. There is a lot of. Srila Prabhupada gives his explanation in the purports. It's very wonderful. So now we can start reading, and then we will start with the introduction, which brings the activities or the time before actually these prayers of Queen Kunti. So in nutshell, basically it goes through the whole Mahabharata in few paragraphs, and leading to why actually Queen Kunti is praying for Krishna's attention. Okay, so then reading from the teachings of Queen Kunti, and we will start with the introduction. The tragic and heroic figure of Queen Kunti emerges from an explosive era in the history of ancient India. As related in the Mahabharata, India's grand epic poem of 110,000 couplets. How many verses are in Mahabharata? What we know?
I think 1 lakh, Maharaj.
Is it? And how many are there for the demigods?
I think, Maharaj, they said there are a number of things. I think it is 10 times or 100 times, Maharaj.
10 times or 100 times, yeah? Okay.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. So 110,000 verses. Kunti was the wife of King Pandu and the mother of 5 illustrious sons known as the Pandavas. As such, she was one of the central figures in the complex political drama that culminated 50 centuries ago in the Kurukshetra war, a devastating war of ascendancy that changed the course of world events. The Mahabharata describes the prelude of the Holocaust as follows. Pandu became king because his elder brother Dhritarashtra had been born blind, a condition that excluded him from direct succession. Sometime after Pandu ascended to the throne, Dhritarashtra married Gandhari and fathered 100 sons. This was the ruling family of the Kaurava dynasty, of whom the eldest was the ambitious and cruel Duryodhana. Meanwhile, Pandu had taken 2 wives, Madri and Kunti. Originally named Pritha, Kunti was the daughter of Shurasena, the chief of the glorious Yaru dynasty. The Mahabharata relates that Kunti was gifted with beauty and character. She rejoiced in the law, dharma, and was great in her vows. She also possessed an unusual benediction. When she was a child, her father, Shurasena, had given her in adoption to his childless cousin, and close friend Kunti Bhoja, hence the name Kunti. In her stepfather's house, Kunti's duty was to look after the welfare of guests. One day, the powerful sage and mystic Durvasa came there and was pleased by Kunti's selfless service. Foreseeing that she would have difficulty conceiving sons, Durvasa gave her the benediction that she could invoke any demigod and by him obtain progeny. After Kunti married Pandu, he was placed under a curse that prevented him from begetting children. So he renounced the throne and retired with his wives to the forest. There, Kunti's special benediction enabled her to conceive, at her husband's request, 3 glorious sons. First, she invoked Dharma, the demigod of religion. After worshipping him and repeating an invocation Durvasa had taught her, she united with Dharma and in time gave birth to a boy. As soon as the child was born, a voice with no visible source said, "The child will be called Yudhishthira, and he will be very virtuous. He will be splendid, determined, renounced, and famous throughout the 3 worlds." Having been blessed by this virtuous son, Pandu then asked Kunti for a son of a great physical strength. Thus Kunti invoked Vayu, the demigod of the wind, who begot the mighty Bhima. Upon Bhima's birth, the supernatural voice said, "This child will be the foremost of all strong men." Thereafter, Pandu consulted with great sages in the forest and then asked Kunti to observe vow of austerity for 1 full year. At the end of this period, Pandu said to Kunti, "O beautiful one, Indra, the king of heaven, is pleased with you. So invoke him and conceive a son." Kunti then invoked Indra, who came to her and begot Arjuna. As soon as the prince was born, the same celestial voice boomed through the sky. "O Kunti, this child will be as strong as Kartavirya and Shivi, 2 powerful kings of Vedic times, and as invincible in battle as Indra himself. He will spread your fame everywhere and acquire many divine weapons." Subsequently, Pandu's junior wife Madri bore 2 sons named Nakula and Sahadeva. The 5 sons of Pandu, Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjun, Nakula, and Sahadeva, then came to be born as the Pandavas, to be known as the Pandavas. Now, since Pandu had retired from the throne and gone to the forest, Dhritarashtra had temporarily assumed the throne until Pandu's eldest son Yudhishthira came of age. However, long before that time, Pandu died as a result of the curse, and Madri gave up her life as well by ascending his funeral pyre. That left the 5 Pandavas in the care of Queen Kunti. After Pandu's death, the sages living in the forest brought the 5 young princes and Kunti to the Kaurava court at Hastinapur, near present-day Delhi. In Hastinapur, the capital city of the kingdom, the 5 boys were raised in royal style under the guidance of Dhritarashtra and the noble Vidura, Pandu's half-brother. But a smooth transfer of power was not to be. Although Dhritarashtra had at first recognized the primogeniture of Yudhishthir, he later allowed himself to be used by his eldest son to power-hungry Duryodhana, who wished to ascend the throne in place of Yudhishthira. Driven by uncontrollable jealousy, Duryodhana plotted against the Pandavas, and with the hesitant approval of the weak Dhritarashtra, he inflicted many suffering upon them. He made several attempts on their lives in Hastinapur, and then he brought them to a provincial palace and tried to assassinate them by having it set on fire. All the while, the 5 youthful Pandavas were accompanied by their courageous mother Kunti, who suffered Duryodhana's atrocities in the company of her beloved son. Miraculously, however, Kunti and the Pandavas repeatedly escaped death, for they were under the loving protection of Lord Krishna, who had incarnated to perform his earthly pastimes. Ultimately, Duryodhana, a clever politician, cheated the Pandavas out of their kingdom and their freedom in a gambling match. As a result of the match, the Pandavas' wife Draupadi was abused by the Kauravas, and the Pandavas themselves were forced to spend 13 years in exile in the forest, to the great sorrow of Kunti. When the 13-year exile had ended, the Pandavas returned to Hastinapur to reclaim their kingdom, but Duryodhana bluntly refused to relinquish it. Then, after some unsuccessful attempts to quell the hostilities, Yudhishthira sent Krishna himself to secure the return of Pandava kingdom by peaceful means. But even this effort failed because of Duryodhana's obstinacy, and both sides prepared to battle. To place Yudhishthira on the throne or to oppose him, great warriors from all corners of the earth assembled, setting the scene for what would prove to be a devastating world war. Fierce fighting raged for 18 days on the historic plain of Kurukshetra near Hastinapur, and in the end, all but a handful of many millions of warriors were dead. Only Lord Krishna, the Pandavas, and a few other survivors survived the massacre. The Kauravas, Duryodhana and his brothers, were devastated. In a desperate gesture of revenge, Ashwatthama, one of the surviving Kauravas, mercilessly murdered the 5 sons of Draupadi while they were sleeping. Queen Kunti thus suffered a final blow. And Kunti's daughter-in-law, who pleaded for his life. But the shameless Ashwatthama made one more attempt to kill the last heir of the Pandavas, their unborn grandson, in the womb of Uttara, by hurling the supreme Brahmastra weapon. When he saw the missile flying straight at her, Uttara immediately ran to the shelter of Lord Krishna, who was just about to depart for Dwaraka, his majestic capital city. Krishna protected the Pandavas and their mother Kunti from imminent death by stopping the weapon's uncontrollable heat and radiation from his own Sudarshan disk. Having delivered the Pandavas from the last calamity and seeing that all his plans were fulfilled, Lord Krishna was again preparing to leave. For years, Duryodhana had tormented Queen Kunti's family, but Krishna had protected them at very turn, and now he is going away. Kunti was overwhelmed, and she prayed to Krishna from the core of her heart. Kunti was Lord Krishna's aunt and had incarnated as the son of her brother Vasudeva. He had incarnated as the son of her brother Vasudeva. Yet despite this conventional tie with the Lord, she fully understood his exalted and divine identity. She knew full well that he had descended from his abode in the spiritual world to rid the earth of demoniac military powers and re-establish righteousness. Just before the Great War, Krishna had revealed all this to her son Arjuna in words immortalized in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7.8. Whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious practice of descendant of Bharata and a predominant rise of irreligion, at the time I incarnate myself in order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. Krishna has accomplished his purpose of annihilating the miscreants by orchestrating the destruction of the unholy Kauravas. Then he installed Yudhishthira on the throne to establish the Pandava region and Pandava's reign, and he consulted the slain warriors' relatives. The scene of the Lord's imminent departure provides the setting for Queen Kunti's exalted prayers. As Kunti approached the Lord's chariot and began to address him, her immediate purpose was to persuade him to remain in Hastinapur and protect the Pandava government from reprisals. Oh my Lord, you are leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us. Now, when all kings are at enemy with us. Bhagavatam 1:837. From this supplication, we should not mistakenly conclude that Kunti's prayers were self-serving. Although her suffering were far greater than those any ordinary person could endure, she does not beg relief. On the contrary, she prays to suffer even more, for the reason that her suffering will increase her devotion to the Lord and bring her ultimate liberation. My dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from the poison cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from suffering during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Bhagavatam 1:824-25. Kunti's words, the simple and illuminating outpourings of the soul of great saintly woman devotee, reveal both the deepest transcendental emotions of the heart and the most profound philosophical and theological penetrations of the intellect. Her words are words of glorification impelled by divine love, steeped in wisdom. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn up unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Bhagavatam 1:842. Kunti's spontaneous glorification of Lord Krishna and her description of the spiritual path are immortalized in the Mahabharata and the Bhagavat Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, and they have been recited, chanted, and sung by sages and philosophers for thousands of years. As they appear in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti's celebrated prayers consist of only 26 couplets, verses 18 through 43 of the 18th chapter. Yet, they are considered a philosophical, theological, and literary masterpiece. The present book, Teaching Queen Kunti, includes those part verses and illuminating commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and the most renewed Vedic scholar and spiritual leader out of our time. In addition to this commentary, originally written in 1962, Teachings of Queen Kunti contains further explanations that Srila Prabhupada gave more recently in an absorbing series of lectures. In those memorable talks delivered in the spring of 1973 at ISKCON's Western World headquarters in Los Angeles, he analyzed the verses in significantly greater detail and shed even more light upon them. This new Bhaktivedanta book trust publication, complete with 11 color prints of exquisite original oil paintings, will be praised addition to the libraries of all those who seek a deeper understanding of life's mysteries. Written by a man of a profound devotion and erudition, it will provide every reader with firm guidance along the universal path to genuine wisdom and spiritual enlightenment. The publishers. Okay. So that's introduction. So then, yeah. So we will just read now from the verses. Then it's Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 8, and then verse 18. Kunti uvacha Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishvaram Prakrite Param Alakshyam Sarvabhutanam Antarbahir Avastitam. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. And purport, Shri Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityanitanam, Chetanas, Chetananam. Katha Upanishad 2.13. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara, or the controller. The living entities of the demigods like Chandra and Surya are also to some extent Ishvara, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara, or the ultimate controller. Krishna is the Parameshvara, or the Super Soul. He is both within and without. Although he is present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Though all the Vedas, through all the Vedas, I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living entities, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all-pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is always the Maya's energy of the Supreme Lord, and is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows. So this is, well, a very beautiful thoughts. Now, with all the introduction, and then now what Srila Prabhupada is speaking, then now we are getting the proper feeling or understanding of what actually Queen Kunti is going through, what is happening, and the calamities. Like we talked before, sometimes some difficulties are happening in our life, and we are thinking, oh, I'm suffering, I'm not supposed to, I'm the victim, I am no this, and nobody understands me. But this when we go through some calamities in our life, then we can reflect on, if we are suffering, compare yourself to the Pandava suffering. Compare yourself to Queen Kunti's suffering. Who of us had the whole world under control and lost it? and not by some mistake, not because of being incompetent, but not due to some relatives cheating. So we may lose something, somebody takes something from us, or somebody does something to us, and then we feel we are suffering so much. But compare yourself to Pandavas, and you understand that what they endured, and specifically Queen Kunti, it's nothing. I mean, what we are enduring is nothing compared to what they went through. And if they went through, then we may understand, okay, so they wanted to get rid of the suffering. So then they actually got. And they got back the palace, they got back the control of the whole world. Everything was well established. But then now Queen Kunti, now she's praying again, please, Krishna, no, let me suffer again. I want to go again through all the calamities which we went, for the one simple reason, that when we were there, you are with us. So it doesn't matter what calamities we are going through our life. What matters is the consciousness. So if we are trying to always think of the Lord and think of the Lord as He is the source of everything, right? Everything is under His control. Every atom is under His control. So surely also the situation is happening. There is some reason for why is it happening. And Matras Parshastu Konteasi Tushnasu Kadukada. No. After the calamity, happiness comes again. And after happiness, calamity comes again. So we should not be surprised. We should rather now take advantage of, now try to understand the mood of Queen Kunti. Because this is what can help us to get over by the calamities in our own lives. Okay, so then next verse 19. Okay. Maya Javanika Channam Agyadhokshajam Avyayam Nalakshase Mudhadrisha Nato Natya Dharo Yatha. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna affirms that less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons who are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. The asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. When Lord himself appears among us as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, or his original form as Krishna, he performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible. As we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature, Lord Shri Krishna exhibited these humanly impossible activities even from the days of his lying on the lap of his mother. He killed a Putana witch, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby, and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted the Govardhan hill, just as a boy picks up frog's umbrella and stood several days continuously just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavan. These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures like the Puranas, Itihasas, and Upanishads. He has delivered wonderful instructions in the shape of the Bhagavad Gita. He has shown marvelous capacities as a hero, as a householder, as a teacher, as a renouncer. He is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such authoritative personalities as Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, Madhva, Shankara, Ramanuja, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Vishma Chakravarti, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and all other authorities of the line. He himself has declared as much in many places of the authentic literatures. And yet, there is a class of men with demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Shri Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientists. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge, but it is not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. He is described herein as adhokshaja, or beyond the range of experimental knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. We claim to observe everything, anything, but we must admit that we can observe things under certain material conditions only, which are also beyond our control. The Lord is beyond the observation of the sense perception. Queen Kunti accepts this deficiency of the conditioned soul, especially of the woman class, who are less intelligent. For the less intelligent, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about him from authorities in such holy places. For the less intelligent, the beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. For less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in the temples, mosques, and churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotee to meditate upon him by active service. Now, Srila Prabhupada, he talks about here about the less intelligent people. He talks about how it is difficult to see the Lord, to recognize, even though he may just be in front of our very eyes. But it's not just the Lord. Just if you look, even devotees, what do we know? What do we see? The example of Shukadeva Goswami. So he is a boy. He is 16-year-old, and he is naked and walking. So very few can see that he is a great sage. Others, they are unable to see that. They see that, oh, he's some crazy guy. And they are trying, throwing some stones and just thinking that he's some madman. And same from Jada Bharat, right? And Jada Bharat, he purposefully did that because he wanted to be, unrecognized or unseen as a devotee, not bothered. So even among the devotees, and then what do we know? What do we see? How do we recognize who is who? We are imperfect. We don't know. So then how we are not to judge if somebody is better than me or somebody is worse than me. So we have to be extremely careful when approaching. And that's what Queen Kunti, you can see that she is coming with great respect for Krishna. Even though, okay, he's the nephew, so then he should respect her, theoretically. But no, she has full respect for him. Because she recognized who he is, and she could recognize who he is because of her approach. So this is the Sambandha. She understands her relationship. So in one sense, the relationship is, okay, he is my nephew, so then he should pay obeisance to me. But she understands, no, he's the Supreme Lord. Same like Bhishmadev, when there was the assembly. So when Krishna walks in as a relatively young boy, a young man, then he walks in and everybody pays respect. Even Bhishmadev, who is the Pitamaha, he is the eldest, he is the most respectable in the assembly. But he gives respect to Krishna because he knows. So how do we know? Through the respect. So the qualities of Trinarapisana, Tarapisana, Amani, Manadena must be practiced, must be developed for us to be able to realize the Lord. Because the Kirtanaya Sadahare, this is the way how we can recognize. And that's what Queen Kunti is teaching us. She's telling us the same thing. This is the way how to understand the relationship, how to understand the Sambandha Gyan. So in few verses, she is telling us basically the whole philosophy, now how we can realize who am I, who is the Lord, and my relationship with him. And what am I supposed to do? So it's the same thing again. We are talking again about the Sambandha Gyan, or the Abhidaya, or the Prayojana. It boils down to these very, very principles. And if you remember, we discussed about the 4 or 5 verses. Everything is condensed in those few verses. So if you still remember them, and if you time to time just maybe recite them, just memorize, just remember, then you can start connecting actually everything what you read and categorizing in the Sambandha, Abhidaya, Prayojana, and start understanding how the process of devotional service is interwoven through everything, all our activities in our life. It's very important. And this is exactly the point. Why is it important to study the Shastra, not just chronologically, but the thematic way? So, for example, Bhagavad Gita, then through the Dashamula, as we read, eventually, really, everybody should get deeply into it to start understanding what it is about. And there is also a study on Bhagavatam based on the Vastutrayi, Bhagavad Arkamarichimala, which is also a very wonderful work. So Queen Kunti, she is teaching us that through different perception, but she is telling us the very same thing. So if we are paying attention and if we are not trying to understand what she is saying, then we can progress in our devotion and see that her devotion, her activities, or the Abhidaya, what she does, okay, prayers or whatever it may be, it's also connected, as we discussed, with the Dharati Pratik Vihnati. It's personal. It's not impersonal. So chanting japa is personal. It's about pleasing Krishna. It's not just me feeling good. This is very important point. So for that, no, these prayers of King Kunti, even though there are just a few, but there are excellent. So anyway, so we read 2 verses. You have any questions?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, you said that there are many foolish people who are not able to realize Krishna even when he was here. So means like we are that foolish, but how that persons can realize Krishna? You said Kirtan is Sadhari, that is one way, but there are two, three more things you talked about. So can you tell us again that 2 or 3 things that you talked about?
How they can deny Krishna?
How can they realize that,
How
they
can
were
they
not
realize?
able to recognize, because they were not able to recognize that he is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when Krishna was here. So how can we realize that, like Kunti Maharani she got that realization that the Supreme himself she is talking to Supreme Personality of Godhead. But for others who doesn't have that spiritual understanding, then how can they develop that spiritual understanding? Once you said that Kirtan is Sadhari, and the other you spoke about. So I'm not able to understand.
So first of all, it boils down to that you can realize anything only if you really want to. You are looking for the realization. The same way, like you can wake up only if you really want to. If you don't want to, nobody can wake you up. You can keep pretending that you are sleeping and then no, you don't wake up. So the desire to actually know who Krishna really is very important. Now, if we have to develop the desire to know that. Sometimes we go through some realization or some experiences which come unexpected, and they may become pleasant or unpleasant. Now, so many things we may go through, but again, it leads to deeper desire. Do I want to know more? I don't want to know. So especially spiritual knowledge is about that you have to want to know that. If you don't want to and you want to be covered by the Maya, sure, it's provided for you. That's what you came for. So for anybody to realize, then there must be first some little impetus, some initial desire. There must be something which prompts the person, okay, I want to know more. Like in Java Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he describes the life of the Mayavadi sannyasi who just heard the holy name, and through that he was actually disturbed in the beginning, and he had to find the source of where the devotees came from, who was chanting, and what is it about, and to the point that he became a devotee, great devotee, Vaishnava. And he was not planning to be a Vaishnava. He was planning to be very scholarly Mayavadi sannyasi. So ultimately, it boils down to that we have to want to be Vaishnavas. How we can, what we can do, and how fast, it's secondary. The primary thing is that we have to want to be. We have to want to serve the Lord. We have to want to know who am I. So the teaching of Srila Prabhupada leads to provoke the desire to know more. So for anybody to realize, then the desire must be there that I want to know more. We have to understand that everybody is a devotee by nature. But some of us are more ignorant of it, and some maybe less. Somebody is sleeping, somebody is awake. But still, in the core, the jiva is pure. But we let the jiva to cover by ahankar, and we come under ignorance. But now it's time to wake up. So we are able to request Krishna, please remove the ignorance. And if we request him sincerely, because we want it really, he can do it. But he will not do it against our free will. He will not do it against our will. So the whole devotional life is about to get inspired about, I want to know about Krishna. I want to know who Krishna is. I want to know who I am. And I want to know my relationship with him. That's what devotional service is about. But to do that, devotional service must be personal. So anything which we do, we should do with the feelings of, I want to offer it to Krishna. I want to please Krishna. It's about Krishna, not about me. I am just the servant of the Lord. That's the way how anybody can realize. But only the person who wants to realize can realize. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So we should work on the desire. We want to realize. We want to know.
Yes.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Okay, then
Ankur Prabhu, go ahead.
जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम हरे कृष्णा Maharaj, my question is more related to I mean the way Kunti Maharani prayed that
Hare Krishna. Ankur Prabhu, we can't hear you. आपकी voice break हो रही है.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Am I audible, Maharaj?
Now you're audible. Yes, Prabhu.
now.
Ankur Prabhu, we can't hear you. So just hold on for a second.
Sorry.
है ना? आपका net ठीक है connection?
जी.
Okay, let's try one more time. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm facing some problems. Is it clear now, Prabhu?
Yes.
Now yes.
So my question is regarding, I mean, the way Kunti Maharani prayed to Krishna that, yeah, please give me more problems. But as you said, Maharaj, I mean, we rather start blaming that why me? And
Hare Krishna. Ankur Prabhu, we can't hear you. So maybe you park your question and एक बार पहले रामचंद्र प्रभु का ले लेते हैं. Then we'll try again with you, Prabhu. Yes, Ramchandra Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanat Pranam.
Sure,
Maharaj,
sure, Prabhu.
in the second verse of the purport of Srila Prabhupada, what is the meaning of the last line? Like, for less intelligent person, going down before the authority of the Lord is as beneficial as it is for advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service.
You see, what is church or temple or mosque? What do they have in common? What is the commonality between them?
They all address the Lord. We
Okay,
go
in
and
general, what is meant for?
prayers. Or
What is the prayer meant for?
what is that?
What is the prayer meant for? Or what is the activity of the prayer? What is it meant for? What is reading scriptures or hearing scriptures meant for? And whether it's Bible, Quran, or it can be Bhagavatam.
To know
What is
more
the
about
commonality?
God.
Don't look at the details. Look at the principle.
To know more about the Lord. And
It's about elevating consciousness. What's the common between karma kanda, jnana kanda, upasana kanda? Right? It's elevating consciousness. So therefore, people who are on the lower platform, for them going to the temple or praying to Jesus or reading Quran or whatever, it can, if they do it right, it elevates their consciousness. You understand?
yes.
So it brings them closer to the Lord. So next lifetime, they start from the higher platform and go farther. So as long as you are moving forward, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, but you are moving forward. So that's the principle. And that's why also, we cannot, or criticizing, say karma kanda, jnana kanda, it's an amaparat. Because they were created by the Lord for, you can say, the less intelligent persons. That means persons who are not as realized yet, but they do and they will realize. You may have a kid and the kid doesn't know how to read and write. But you are not going to call him like less intelligent because it's natural, he didn't learn yet. But he is going to learn and he will know better than you how to read and write. It's just a question of time. So everybody has the potential to be pure devotee because everybody is jiva. Only to realize it. So that's the whole point. That no matter which religion, no matter which place, as long as you are following the proper padati, it elevates your consciousness. It helps you. And it depends on how fast and how far you want to go. Opportunities will be there. And even among the Vaishnavas, the path, how we worship the Lord and whom, in which form, not form, but in which mood, it also differs. The Sri Vaishnavas, their way of worship is somewhat different from Madhvas. And we, Madhva Gaudiya, Sampradaya, then also we focus on different Nimbarkas, they focus on different aspects. And it's not wrong. We cannot criticize. We cannot say, oh, we are the best and everybody else is just bogus. No. Everything is created by the Lord so then we can progress, we can benefit if we follow properly. Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. And Anku
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
his connection is not good. So we'll take his question next week, Maharaj. And anyway, Maharaj, you'll be here on Saturday. So all of us are eagerly awaiting your arrival in Gurugram, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Very well, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, Maharaj. So all of us, we heartily thank Maharaj for his wonderful association and explanation of these deep verses by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhakti Aja Pridivardhan Maharaj ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Very well. Thank you. Hare Krishna.